to MOTN Reads, where we take a look at some of the newest, hottest comics on the racks, and I give you my hot take on the book itself and my suggestion on if you would like to purchase it or not. And give it a go. I'm, of course, your marvelous host, Mike G, and today we're going to be talking about a status quo shakeup, I would say. This is The House of X, the X-Men's new jumping off point, written by Jonathan Hickman, with artist Pepe Larraz and Marte Gracia. This book, where do I even start? This is actually the jumping on point, if you want it, for all those Marvel fans who've been waiting for the rebirth, so to speak, of the X-Men, kind of a change in the way that they're going to be operating. This is the book to actually start on. This book takes place, I would say, around the world, actually, as the X-Men prepare to claim a island nation as their own, and they're asking members of the UN to visit Krakoa, which is the name of the island, and actually a very, very old school X-Men hero slash villain that is actually a living island. Think Eagle the Living Planet, but on a smaller scale. So this comic, and I'm just going to give you my hot take. I'm not actually going to go into too deep of spoilers because, one, this book doesn't really, I would say, divulge a lot, but it also gives you just a tone of what kind of direction Jonathan Hickman is planning on going toward. And for me, the tone is actually very creepy. It's actually, the tone of this comic is very off-putting. It almost reminds me of like a David Lynch film, kind of like, I would say, Blue Velvet kind of feeling, because the way the book opens, it just seems like the most sinister kind of what the F kind of situation. Magneto's acting as an ambassador for the mutants and kind of telling the members of the UN pretty much what's going to happen. And the book is going through in great, great detail because Jonathan Hickman, if anything, it has an insane attention to detail. If you wanted to read some more of his stuff, I would recommend the Secret Wars trade paperback as well as his run of Fantastic Four, mind-melting stuff. And you can kind of get an idea that he's going to be heading in that direction for this book as well. The artwork is immaculate. It kind of reminds me of Stuart Eminem's work. Very clean lines, very bright colors. And the X-Men, for the ones we've seen so far, are very well represented. There are a lot of kind of surprises in this book, especially on the direction they're going with the advent of them moving to Krakoa, if hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, and how they're approaching the world and how they expect the world to approach them in turn. I would say that this book left me feeling like wanting more, unraveling kind of the secret. It almost feels like a science fiction book, even a horror book in a weird way, because there's something just not quite right about the X-Men in this book. They don't seem like completely themselves. Magneto's pretty spot on in this book. He pretty much has that kind of villain flair to him, even though he's quote unquote one of the good guys. But we also have moments with Jean Grey. There's a big moment with Cyclops, where he actually confronts the Fantastic Four, which is kind of cool. You get to see the Fantastic Four interacting with the X-Men, and they also have a weird kind of peace treaty they have to broker with Cyclops, the leader of the X-Men, and he's kind of laying down the law that they're not playing around anymore, and the world's going to have to either get down or lay down, and if they lay down, they're going to stay down. So hopefully someone gets that reference. I'm really excited to see where Hickman takes this book. I'm actually going to be doing these issue for issue, so I'm going to be doing quick hot takes on every single issue, give you my 2 cents for what it's worth, 2 cents, and hopefully you would want to enjoy this book. It's a high recommend for me, especially if you love the X-Men and been waiting for them to get a quote-unquote fair shake. I would say jump on now because this book, if anything, shows promise, and it's very heavily detailed in regards to its world building already, in the kind of the ways that Professor Xavier, or X as he's being known recently in the comics, is kind of masterminding this entire new movement, and how everyone's like unwaveringly on board, which is very unlike some characters that are actually shown in this book. So that kind of gets right under your skin as well. But that's actually going to wrap it up here. If you like this content, if you want more of my hot takes on these single issue books, please let me know on Twitter. That is at mnerdiverse. That is at M as in masters in Nerdiverse. And you can leave me a comment. You can actually follow the channel if you would like more content like this, as well as our podcast that we do weekly and other little fun stuff that you can find on our channel, as well as on our Patreon. And that's Patreon.com/Masters of the Universe Cast, where you can actually support the channel if you choose to. I've, of course, been your host, Mike G, and I will always ask you to support your local comic book store. Support them now.